What's up, family? Welcome to the show.
You say I'm loca, crazy. Said I've been tripping lately. I wanna know, baby, does that make me insecure?
That's Marla Negra. I don't own rights to this music, but listen. Today's topic is going to be called Dee Dee Warwick. Whitney Houston cousin Dee Dee Warwick molested her.
At night when you're falling asleep, hold yourself on tighter than me. You think that I can see what's happening? You want me like
ABC. Why you creep like TLC?
I'll give you 2, 1, 2, 3.
Hold on, babies. All right, the artist that you just heard was Marla Negra from Love and Hip Hop. I'm really feeling that track. But today, let me enlighten you guys. I know you all heard several videos and all these allegations are coming out about the legendary Whitney Houston cousin Dee Dee Warwick. Dee Dee Warwick, for those of you who don't know who Dee Dee Warwick was, she is the little sister of Dionne Warwick. And she is one of the eldest cousins who passed back in 2008, Whitney Houston's cousin. It is coming out, the allegations family, that she molested Whitney Houston and her brother before she, became a household name. You got to understand one thing, family. When you are dealing with people from back in those days, and hear me out, before my mother passed away, it used to be a thing where people would sweep things like that under the rug. During the duration of that time, people would sweep that kind of shit under the rug. And, my mother used to tell me, if someone is touching you, putting their hands on you, or trying to even do anything sexual to you, trying to even touch you in an inappropriate way, you must tell your mother, because a lot of these predators, it never happened to me. I've never been molested, but I know people who've been guarded into molestation, and they told me that some of the molesters child predators who touched them told them, if you tell, I'll kill you. So maybe after all these years, even though Gary Houston came out with it about him being molested, and him and Whitney Houston, which is Nippy, being molested as a young children, it makes no sense that a person would take a person's innocence, because a child is a child. And even if it isn't a child, it stems both ways. We all seen the troubles that Whitney had. We all seen the things that she went through, and we also seen the things that took a troubling terminal for her. And people sit back and call her all kinds of names and drug users and this and that. But you got to understand, what you don't know, when a person is going through something, when a person is dealing with something, you don't know what their past could have been. When you have pushy parents and you got people pushing you to be something because they didn't become nothing, you will be going to it's not to say that, oh, you're just making an excuse because the person did drugs. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying to you people is, hear me out. Maybe that was the reason why Whitney went to drugs and could have been contributed to drugs. Although the interview said that her brother said he admitted to introducing her to drugs. You have to understand, if Dee Dee Warwick molested her. They swept everything under the rug. And as a child, she was an innocent child at that time. Her mind was confused to what was going on, to why her cousin was doing that to her and her brothers and her. Because she just was the only girl. She was the baby. Maybe that was the reason why she got on hard, heavy drugs like that. Because in her mind, it still was hunting her and pretty much steaming in back of her mind that happened to her. So you never know what a person is going through until you never know what a person is actually going through until you're actually in their shoes. Just like when my dad died, my dad didn't die. I'm sorry, Daddy. My dad left. You would have think that he died because he was really barely around. But he was around because he loved us. But the divorce my mother and father had was very nasty. And you just never know what people are going through. When Whitney was a child when the molestation started. And this woman has multiple hits. First of all, Whitney came from a musical family. Much like myself. I wouldn't say who, but Whitney came from a very talented family. And most of all her family members, including her mom, Sissy Houston, were, they were singers. I forgot the name of the Drinkards. My mother used to listen to the Drinkards, and my grandmother, Sissy Houston, real name is Drinker. And my mother and grandmother, they grew up on listening to those songs. My parents and my mother and them used to go out to some of Sissy Houston's concerts back in the days, and we'll see them face to face and we'll listen to all their music and things of that nature. Back in the day, they would go out and do, see those people and, have interact contact with some of the people, like, literally shake their hands in the crowds and stuff like that. But let's skip that. When a person is that fucked up and that mentally fucked up to touch a child, it can scar a child for life. So even though she done that to Whitney, it kind of scarred Whitney. It kind of pushed her to the limit where when she got older, it really bothered her. It mind boggled her to the point where she went out and did heavy drugs. She never really opened up about it because her mother was so busy before she was famous, going on touring and leaving her with this kind of person. And that's why I told y'all every time I do a video, sometimes I be on point most of the time. So my videos I'm not even up in the thousands or the 500s or even 1 million viewers. But I know enough to know, and I come out with certain topics that hit home. When you have parents who spend most of their time working, and then you have people that come in your life, let me tell y'all something. The closest get the most. When you have family members whose mind are fucked up and they are not all way there, they will touch a child. So by her mother and dad, her father, Sissy, and Mr. Houston were not home, anything could take place. And Dee Dee Warwick, I don't even want to speak on the dead because she's not really here to defend herself. It's sick. It really is sick to even discuss this shit because she was a child at that time. Being as though that took place so long ago, I really think that with these allegations, I just think that they should have kind of like not put it out there about Whitney, but when she was alive, she would have came and brought it to the forefront because some things you just don't put out there like that. A lot of this really hindered her, and the reason why she was going through the terminals that she was going through when she had the drugs. And as the time went on, before God rest her soul, she really should have, at that point of time, because now it's too late. She should have really pretty much went to counseling. You know, and I'm going to be honest with you, when I'm a Leo, and I really don't believe in astrology, but most of us Leos, when we're going through something, because Whitney was a Leo like myself, we kind of like don't open up too much, but we do open up, and that probably kind of triggered a lot of things for her, you know, and her favorite thing was to always talk about Dion. She never talked about Dee Dee, but you notice she always talked about my cousin Dion, because she knew Dion was the protector, and she loved Dion. She never talked about Dee Dee. Something strange, ain't it? Dee Dee, you could look in her face and tell that she was some old dyke. She was just, you know, some old, she was a troubled singer. She really wasn't as popular as Dionne Warwick, her big sister, you know, and she was dealing with a whole lot of other unnecessary, unusual shit. But my thing is, I just think that was real foul. Why would you even touch a child? I understand that it's water under the bridge, but that's just something that we can't forget. And maybe, like I said to you people, that is the reason why Whitney went astray the way she did with those drugs. It really didn't have nothing to do with Bobby Brown. A lot of things happened to her as a kid that she didn't reveal during her time when she was on Earth. And everything is starting to come out. Even if Whitney was gay, we still love her no matter what, because she was Whitney. You know what I mean? I mean, just because a person loves another sex, we shouldn't judge. But my thing is, all of that really put a strain of stress on her, and she really should have opened up. But I don't think that they should have threw this out there on this documentation, because neither one of these people are here alive to really defend themselves. But they shouldn't have thrown all of that out there like that, because it kind of hurts. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you one thing about a Leo. Whitney was a Leo. And here's the thing. If we want you to know something, you'll know it. So without that really truly being said, I mean, it's really no shocker, because sometimes people in certain families will sweep child molestation under the rug. That's how it was back in the days. You know, that's how the 60s, 40s, 50s would sweep that and wouldn't say anything. And then later on, the children come forth and say, I was molested by such and such and such. That's why people, I tell y'all, you can't bring everybody in your family around your kids, because there's some evil motherfuckers. And they were right. With that Lifetime movie with Whitney Houston, they didn't show everything. They didn't show how she was sick as a child. They didn't show when she first got signed with Clive. They just went right into her, you know, coming to the Grammys. If they would have put a Lifetime movie about me, trust and believe me, they'll show everything that I've been through, single mother on down. Because these Lifetime movies, they only show certain people bring stuff to light, but me personally, I got a lot of shit to tell about my life, and trust me, it'll be way more interesting than what a lot of these other celebrities got. Trust and believe me. My ups and downs, and how I became very, very open to you guys today. So, anyway, I just pray for the Houston family and the Brown family, and I hope they get through this at this difficult time. And it's a shocker to me. I'm 100% on Gary Houston's side, and I stand by his movement about Whitney. This video getting ready to cut off. Please let me know what you guys think.
Never too much when it's about love. Would you rather ride